Hey YouTubers, and welcome to another episode here on ESGNet. And this is Sports Gamers Talk Podcast here on ESGNet. I'm hoping you guys had a great week. It's been a pretty decent week for myself, I should say. Um, but a tragic week we've had here in the last couple of days. Over the weekend, if you guys don't know, we had two passings. One passing, a great and talented and forever has changed the game when it comes to golf. The late, great Arnold Palmer passed away. We'll get into that here in just a bit. Not to mention a future, seriously, a future Hall of Famer with the numbers he has put up in the last 3 years. Was tragically taken away from us and really shook up a very close knit community, and not to mention a very close knit team, and that being the Miami Marlins losing Jose Fernandez over the weekend on matter of fact last Sunday or Saturday night, or Saturday, or I should say, yeah, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, passed away in a tragic boating accident that not just his life, but two others close to him lost their lives also. Um, so we'll get into that here in just a bit. Um, Also, we'll recap last Sunday's pay-per-view, WWE's Clash of Champions. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about some social injustice, according to Serena Williams, and what's been going on. Social media has been just going crazy, really, since this whole Kaepernick thing has been going on. Yeah, that's still going on and everything. People are still saying some pretty nasty things on social media. Not getting into too much of the Kaepernick situation, but there has been some issues of player safety in the NFL, and we'll get into about that. And when I say about that, I'm talking about Richard Sherman. According to the Players Tribune, he made a video this past week, and it's been kind of controversial on both sides. More say the sides of people not. I don't think a lot of people understand what he is actually saying, because honestly, he's totally honestly saying the truth about the relationship between the players and the owners. We'll get into that, and that'll be my soapbox of the week. Because he actually says some pretty good things that I've been saying for years, especially along amongst friends, about how players are treated by the owners in a lot of ways. So we'll get into that here on the show. NBA 2K 2K17 has been out. Hopefully you guys have been playing that, and I'll actually have a little bit of a channel update here for you guys about that, and also some upcoming videos here on the channel here in just a bit. We'll get into that towards the end of the show. So let's go ahead and get into the first topic of the week here on the show, and let's talk about the deaths of two great people. One of them has been around, has been in sports for years. A pioneer of sports, especially in the world of, especially helping this one main sport, golf, become as popular as it is today. Because especially at that time when golf was just trying to get itself off the ground floor, when it comes to covering it on live events and stuff. And that is the great legend. They call him the King. I'm talking about Arnold Palmer. Now, I will say I am not a fan of old school golf. I'm not even a fan of the current PGA. I could tell you. I can only tell you of two people, Roy McIlroy and Tiger Woods. So that if that tells you a lot. So obviously I'm not gonna be too knowledgeable about it. But guys like Arnold Palmer and so many others. There's a couple others. I can't think of his name. Jack Nicholson is one of them. Um, um, you know, I can't think of any others, but I don't follow golf as much. I understand the game. I'm not a big fan of it. I know of some people that are huge fans of golf. They watch it. They can watch all four rounds. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Um, I used to get into the video games. The Tiger Woods games. Um, I would say probably when I was in college, I had a roommate that was a big fan of the golf games, and they're actually really good games. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about doing a series here on the channel of the Roy McIlroy um, game. The new game that he has out for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Um, I couldn't tell you too much about the players and the people that are involved and whatnot because there's so many people, and then you got you got some of your top players like McIlroy and Tiger Woods and stuff like that. Um, but Arnold Palmer, one of those really good down to earth guys. There's an article there on the bottom of the down there in the description there. You guys can check out. But 87 years of age, he has changed the game of how golf has been covered. Because at a time where golf was just a gentleman's sport, um, it had its hard times trying to promote it as a sport to watch. To me, I always saw golf as a sport to. It was one of those sports that you had to be there to really get into, to get really into it and whatnot. And to me, golf is more psychological because you're thinking of the wind and the speed of the ball and it's more of a thinking man's game. There's not much physical. I'm not saying there's no physical part to it because there is, but it's more mental than anything. Arnold Palmer is one of those guys that was just his mental capability was very sharp in that, and he's won so many. I mean, I can't, I don't like again. This is my not my knowledge of golf. He's won several titles. He's won a couple Masters, I think, and whatnot. But hearing about this shocked a lot of people. I didn't realize he was in his mid 80s. When I seen him on television, I always thought he was maybe, possibly maybe his latter 60s, going into his 70s. But I didn't know he was 87 years of age when he passed away. So I know a lot of people in the golf world. This was somebody that was very special, and seeing some interviews that I've seen on YouTube, and they've been showing some over on ESPN and stuff like that. He's done a lot for this sport and made it with that sport what it is today. Without Arnold Palmer, you wouldn't have so many. You wouldn't have a Roy McIlroy or even a Tiger Woods, especially because Tiger Woods was seen as seen as this generate that this his generation of Arnold Palmer, with all the titles and golf tournaments and everything that he won when Tiger Woods first started. He was seen as the next Arnold Palmer. And in some ways, I guess, in some type of scale, he's in a lot of ways he is, because I mean, Tiger Woods. Yes, Tiger Woods hasn't played as well as we're you know were you accustomed to, like, when he first started, his first couple of years as a pro golfer and everything. But you know at that time, there were so many people that were comparing him. They had their path of success was so similar. A lot of people seen as Tiger Woods as the next Arnold Palmer. And of course, the classic drink, the iced tea and lemonade mix. A lot of people have been posting pictures of that drink, and either they showing a can of Arnold Palmer, on the cover of it, or drinking the can and saying rest in peace. There's been a lot of good positive feedback of people showing their condolences of his death, and talking about how the great successful career he's had, and what why they love him and they care about him so much, and kind of just shocked that this passing has happened. So, but here from everybody here from ESGNet, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family, and we hope we pray that they get through this rough time right now. And leading on to that, we go on to another story that happened. This story is actually shocking. I was actually Saturday night. I was at a local tavern. I was at a bar that I go to quite often. Excuse me, on Thursday nights. It's a there's a lot. I don't know if you guys know. I know at least around here there's at least a couple of places where you can go to and if you're 21 or older, you can go and have a drink and play video games, or they call them video game bars. You play video games, you play tabletop games, there's so many things you can do, and the one I go to is just over in St. Joseph, Missouri. There's a couple in Kansas City that I'm hoping to go to here probably at the end of this month. I'm actually going to hang out with a good friend of mine from college. He'll eventually, I think this is the same guy I've been talking about, my buddy Steve. Eventually we're trying to get him on the show and talk about some issues going on in sports. But eventually we're going to go to a bar called what is it? Up Down. It's a bar in downtown Kansas City we're going to try to go to, which is it's a video game bar, and it's basically a gaming bar. But the one I go to in St. Joseph, Missouri is called Club Geek. Yeah, I think they have a Facebook page. Check it out. I'll try to leave a link down there below. So if you're ever in St. Joseph, Missouri, you guys can go there and check it out. I was at the bar, and this was on Saturday night. Now, normally I don't go there on Saturdays and whatnot. I usually try to work on stuff for you guys, for the channel, for the week coming up, and not to mention, try to catch up on some sports and college football and stuff like that. But I went there to go hang out with some friends there. I kind of took a little break from doing videos and whatnot, and I was sitting there watching TV, and I got a alert from ESPN, and I kind of just looked at it, and I kind of okay, whatever, and then I got another alert, I think from another sports app or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, something is going on. This is what? I didn't think about it, and this was close to closing time. So the next morning, I ended up drunk too much, and didn't decided not to be smart and not drive home. I actually stayed at a friend's house who just lived right up the street from the bar. So I stayed there with him at his place, and the next morning, he's like, hey, Rashad, he says, do you know a guy by the name of Jose Fernandez? And I'm like, to myself, no, not really, And I told myself, well, I don't know anyone by that name personally, but I was like, there's a major league pitcher who's played for the Marlins, who's a badass pitcher. And he's like, well, that's who it is. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, and he's not, by no means, he's not really sports oriented. He's when it comes to sports, he's clueless on a lot of things, but the name, he's seen something on TV. It was about a player, a major league baseball pitcher. He knows I'm a big baseball fan, and he's like, yeah, he says there's a pitcher that this guy by the name of Jose Fernandez passed away last night, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, like, I'm thinking like, okay, this is a joke. What are you talking about? Like, like, okay. Well, then I grab my computer and there it is that says that he passed away, and I'm kind of like what? Like, this does not make any sense. Like, what's going on? And so I do some. I look and of course, everyone knows that he passed away because of a tragic boating accident. Apparently, the boat hit rocks and threw two to three people that were on the boat. And of course, one of the people that were on that boat was Fernandez. There, 24 years of age, way too young to pass away, and way too talented to leave this earth. And I'm not a big Marlins fan, but Fernandez was one of those pitchers that I really enjoyed watching because he was so listen to his interviews and the way he carries himself, and there was a couple interviews I seen from him this past year that he loved the game, play baseball. And I know he has some really good Twitter posts and stuff like that, and especially the one that he just had just a couple days ago of him. It's a picture of his, I believe it's his girlfriend or fiance, and they're gonna have a child, and so that's what hurts me the most, that he won't be able to see his child. That is an unborn child, and I know this hit a lot of people in the baseball world, and it was so awesome to see baseball teams that day showing respect. Doing being respectful of the Florida Marlins, and of course, the Marlins and the Braves were playing. They canceled that game, and they're it's gonna be played. Eventually, it was played. They played and whatnot. But it was so awesome to see Major League Baseball come together like that and pay tribute to Fernandez, who was just an amazing player. Just listen to a lot of people's testimonies and just what they had said about him. He seemed like a really good, down to earth person who loved the sport. I mean, he's from Cuba. This is his third season, 24 years of age. His third season, and he had a very bright future ahead of him. A very bright future. And unfortunately, and this would just, I don't like to wish upon death upon anybody, but people that like him, who are so young, so talented, so well liked by so many people. This was just it. This would just really. That's what really hurts me. Is just someone that does something positive. I mean, there was. I was reading a article about him that he there was a young man that asked for his autograph, and Jose is like, okay. He says, well, I'll give you my autograph. He says, but I want to get your autograph first. Um, so he was so well liked by the players. I mean, just or by the fans. It was just really good to hear stories like that. Because we heard so many stories of of players just being so rude to fans and stuff. It's like these are people that follow you, that give up their hard earned money to buy your jersey or to buy your whatever, your fat boy, your fat head or whatever on their wall, or and they enjoy your talent. They enjoy what you do on that field, and then you just say and do, or just you're literally with every I mean doing everything but spit on them, disrespecting them. And they're like, and you realize they're paying your salary. They're paying you. They're paying in a small way. They're paying for your salary on what you do, because I mean, you break it down. I've said this before in other videos. To me, being a major league baseball player, even major league athlete, just period. To me, that's not a real job. I mean, yes, they do train, they do work hard, and there's a lot of guys that there's a lot of players out there in all sports that really put the work and time into making themselves better, a player and a better person, is like that. But then, there's also too that guys are just, they have the talent, they know they have the talent, and they don't have to put too much effort in it, and they're jaded. They just whatever, But it's so I was so when I read the article, or actually I seen the video actually of it. I think I can't remember if I seen it on TV or if I seen it on YouTube, but it was such a great video, and I feel so bad for his family, especially for his his wife or fiance and their unborn child. So, but a lot of teams had a jersey made of his. And it said Fernandez, and it had his number 16. I think last time I checked, there was something online that said that the Florida Marlins were going, or the Miami Marlins were going to end up retiring his number. The number 16 won't be able to be wore in that organization. So I mean, I don't know if you should do that soon, but I mean, like I said, the impact that he had on that team, it seemed like it was a very, very, he was well loved, and he was just a guy that that was very kind and very genuine for that organization and for those people on that team. And I know a lot of guys on that team watching the footage when they had their game after a day after his death, that really couldn't fight back the tears at all. So, Fernandez, his season stats where he was 16-8. He had a 2.86 ERA. His WHIP was 1.12. He had 253 strikeouts, give up 149 hits, 63 RBI, 63 runs. 58 of those were earned. Gave up 13 home runs, 55 walks. He pitched 182 in a third innings of work this year, and it was in all 29 games that he started. His career numbers, career net wise, he's 2.58 for his ERA. His numbers for wins and losses, 38-17, and his total strikeouts for his career was 589 strikeouts. Excuse me. So yeah, and of course, he was Rookie of the Year back in 2013. But just when I heard about that Sunday, it kind of just took the air. It already made my day I had a good night with friends, hanging out with them at the, drinking and stuff like that, and then hearing about that happening to someone, and he was one of the players that I had on my fantasy team. I think it was last year, my fantasy baseball team that I had with some other friends, and it just, I'm not saying that, oh man, this sucks because I can't have my fantasy team, which truly means, I truly feel that way, but at the same time, he's just just a well-liked guy, and just he will be missed. He will be missed by so many, not just from the team, not from just from his own teammates, but from other people that in the game that played against him, and then also the fans. The fans just pour their heart out, and and this kind of makes you now want to be a Marlins fan right now, to just to see them to get through the season and whatnot. So let's go ahead and move on here. This was an interesting story. I read it or heard about this on TV quite a bit. Actually, I think it was on First Take there on ESPN too. But the NBA season, of course, is starting here pretty soon, and I believe the season will start here in October. Here in a couple weeks. Fish technically is October, so here in a couple weeks, the season will start. There's actually a couple of preseason games coming up here in the next couple of days. But there's a lot of controversy saying, okay, what is the NBA going to do about the Kaepernick situation, which was going on in the NFL right now, which is Kaepernick not standing and taking protests to the national anthem. NBA players from all over the league have said, a lot of them saying we're supporting Kaepernick. We're going to be behind him. We're going to show unity, not just as a team, but as individuals here in this country. That we all believe that what's going on right now with relationships between the police and civilians are not the best, and that they want to show that there's they want to show support to all the people that have lost their lives because of police brutality and whatnot. Of course, players like LeBron James and I believe, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, all of them, they've all came out and said that they were going to not stand during the national anthem. A lot of them were going to say they were going to take a knee or sit during the national anthem, and which kind of again started controversy. People were upset. People were saying things that why are you guys going to do this? This is what's going on in the NFL. It's like, and when I hear this, I'm like, this is a issue that we need to talk about, and that's why a lot of people are doing this. Is forcing this conversation upon you. You may not like the conversation, but it needs to be talked about. There's an article down there on the in the description there. You guys can check it out. That LeBron James says he's going to be supporting the family. I know a couple of the Warriors players have already said that because, and a couple of those Warriors players have been in controversy because of what Kaepernick has said, and they've said there locally on local radio and television and newspaper that they were going to do something along the same lines like Kaepernick during the NBA season. And that, apparently rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And they didn't like it. There's already been a couple of death threats to a couple of players there on the Warriors already. And again, this is ridiculous. They have the right to protest. If you don't like what you're protesting, then don't go to the games. Because that's not gonna, to be quite honest, that's gonna open the door for other people that want to go to the games, who are in support of both the team and what they're doing. And again, this is players. We're saying wanting players to be role models. We want them to take their platform, what they have, of being being individuals and speaking out against things that are wrong and are unjust, and take a stand on something. This is their job. This is what we want to see more people do. Unlike in the past where players didn't take a stand on anything. I can't really say blah blah blah. No, you are an American citizen. You have the right. Yes, you may be an overpaid athlete, but when it comes to the end of the day, when you take that uniform off, you're just like everyone else. Especially in this situation, being a black athlete, and you're off the field. Especially if you don't have as soon as you take out a uniform, you're back to being just a regular old person. Yes, you play for the NBA or Major League Baseball or NFL or whatever, but in the end, you're an African American male that could possibly be stopped and frisked for no reason at all, and be shot for no reason at all. And that's what they're trying to explain. These players and stuff like that are trying to take a stand on, of everything that is going on in this country. That it's not a black and white issue. It's civilian versus the police. There are, and I'm not saying all police are like I said in the last couple of videos. I'm not saying all police are like this. I know some well-respected police officers that do their job very well. They go by the book. But there's also police officers that don't go by the book, and they think that just because they are, an officer of the law, they can do whatever they want and not have any consequences. Yes, you're an officer of the law, but at the same time, you need to respect people just the same way you would like to be respected. And the same goes for, the civilian. If the officer asks you to, to stay, to freeze, and ask you questions to figure, whatever the situation may be, then don't make his job complicated. Just tell him what you know. I don't believe I believe in using intimidation to a point, from the police perspective, but at the same time, you just can't go around beating people to get information out of people. They like that saying, if you see something, say something. But with all this going on right now, I truly appreciate these athletes coming out and taking support and showing that they care, about people and about what's going on in the world right now. Especially one player right now, and we're going to switch now to the Soapbox topic of the week. But that is the situation with Richard Sherman. Sherman, according to the SeattleTimes.com, was actually during an interview with the Players Tribune. There's actually a video of that down below in the description. You guys can check that out. He actually was talking about, there were some questions about player safety and what he thinks about the NFL right now when it comes to player safety, and and just what's going on in the world right now with so many issues going on. And he said some pretty interesting things, which I kind of always back in my mind, and I've actually spoke out on this, and I think a couple times here on the show I mentioned it. But he was talking about the bottom line when it comes to the NFL. Slamming the NFL, calling it's a bottom line type of business. And at the same time, he's gotten some, and Richard Sherman is always one of those guys who's very controversial, says things that are on his mind, which is I totally love. And it strikes up conversation, gets us talking about this, and that's what we're doing right now, talking about it. And and some of these talking heads that are on TV right now, I'm thinking like, yeah, you work for the NFL, so you have to be, well, the NFL, blah blah blah. No, you need to come out and say it. Especially if you're a foreign player, regardless of your color, regardless of what position you played. To me, Richard Sherman is saying this correctly. It is a bottom line business. Let's just get to the brass tacks of things. Well, at the end of the day, if you're not the top player in the NFL, if you're not one of those players that's a marquee name, they don't give a rat's ass about you. Especially when it comes to penalties or anything. If you got hit or whatever, and you're not one of the top selling jerseys out there, okay, whatever. But if you are, if you're a Tom Brady like, or Aaron Rodgers, or I would even say Cam Newton, but in the situation with Cam Newton, he's not in that realm. But yeah, like Adrian Peterson and stuff like that. Then NFL's like, you need there needs to be a rule about that, or that needs to be changed. And if you're a marquee name, we'll take care of you. We'll promote you. You'll show you off. We'll have you go on this show and that show and blah blah blah. And it's like, really, like, first and foremost, for your business, and that's what it is. To me, yes, it's a sport, but when it comes down to the bottom line, it's a business. And if your business, if you're not taking good care of the players, especially when it comes to player safety, and I've said this before, it's their choice. They were the ones that decided to play football, and then get drafted by an NFL team and continue playing football. At the same time, NFL, it's your job to protect these guys, not just from each other, but also from themselves. If a guy's getting roughed up, and especially if it's a penalized play, something happened, like what happened with Cam Newton, a couple weeks ago in that game against Denver. If things are going on like that, and the referees are not calling those penalties, that's a major problem. You cannot let that happen. You need to worry about players' safety. Making sure players are not taking these guys out, because at the end of the day, you're all doing the same thing. You're all trying to make money. I do not want to see anyone get hurt. I don't care. I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but at the same time, I don't want to see the guy get hurt to the point where, he's severely hurt. He has to go to the hospital or something like that, or he ends up dying on the field. I don't want to see that. Do I want to see a good, clean hit? Yes. A legal football, maneuver, or whatever they want to call it, or whatever. A good, honestly good hit. Yes. And that's the thing. People are saying, blah blah blah. NFL, they're taking care of their players, blah, blah. But yet you're showing highlight videos of guys getting crushed and getting slammed, and all that stuff, and type of stuff. It's like, you're sending a mixed message to people. If you're not taking care of the players, your future not looking bright right now. I was actually looking at some Nelson ratings a while back, and you guys can look that stuff up online. Even some of the commentaries there on several shows have said that the ratings for NFL are plummeting. They're not getting good ratings right now this season. Especially, and this was one of the big stories of this past week, is a lot of people are saying that the NFL should get rid of Thursday night football. What is the point of having Thursday night football? you're not going to get the players that are. You're not going to get the players that you're not going to get good quality of games because you might have some of those marquee players that may need to have that extra day off. Let's say you played Sunday night you played Sunday, regardless if it was a day game or a night game, and then all of a sudden you have a short week because you have. You may have to have Monday off, and then Tuesday and Thursday or Tuesday and Wednesday you have practice, and then Thursday night you have a game. What happens if a marquee player is injured right there? That's lost revenue right there for that team. Not to mention that to me the quality of the game of having these guys get banged up. I want to see the best of the best go out there and play football. I don't want to see a team that has a bunch of, well-known people all on the sideline. And that's was one thing was because I think, if I remember right, the little thing they were talking about was like, I think in the last couple of Thursday night games, the ratings haven't been getting good ratings at all. And there's been talks of CBS pulling out of the Thursday night football, and possibly having it now move just be on the NFL Network. CBS has their own little Thursday night lineup, and they want to go back to that. If these numbers don't go, don't get up to where they thought they were going to be. And this is the whole people are like a lot of people are saying, oh we need to see more football. No, you don't. You realize you have football almost every night. I mean, literally you have Monday Night Football, which has been around for years, over a little over 40 something years now. You have, not to mention, Sunday you're promoting, you're being seen, wall to wall coverage of it on Sunday. Sunday. I mean, for goodness sakes, a lot of networks start, their NFL coverage at 9:00 in the morning. It's like, most people are at church service at that time. I know people that watch. From there to all the way until the last game of the night, on Sundays. To me, they need to give back Thursday night back to college football, because I've noticed now here in the last couple of, this is the third year they've done now Thursday night football. I've noticed now there's less and less Thursday night football games for college. Because usually I think it was ACC football on Thursday nights. I think Big Ten or not Big Ten, Big 12 was doing that for a while there. A couple of years back, they had a couple of their games on Thursday nights. And usually because there's so many college football games on Saturdays, you can't fit all those games. So you got to have at least one night of the week where. Towards the end of the week where you can have those games to be shown, which it made perfect sense. Thursday night, that helps the students, not have to worry about missing class on Friday, because a lot of, professors don't have classes on Fridays. I know me personally, I know when I was in college, there was not too many college professors that had classes on Fridays, because they figured students were not going to show up. If they did, they had it for, 20 minutes, and then they will let you just take off and leave. But yeah, I don't know. To me, it's a circus. But going back on I think I got a little bit off tangent there. But what the Richard Sherman thing was, honestly, he was telling the truth. When it comes down to it, if you're not a marquee player and you don't, if you're not one of the players that are making money, not just for the NFL but for the owners and stuff, at the end of the day, they're not going to, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to protect you, whatnot. I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, when it comes to post play, after you play your years over, I mean, it comes down to you as a player. Hopefully, you were smart enough to make enough money to take care of yourself, and take care of yourself, and invest that money for retirement and stuff like that. Hopefully, you were smart about how you spend your money. But when you're playing, I mean, when it comes down to it, players need to be taken care of. I mean, owners and players need to get together and have these rules, implement, and not to mention, these rules need to be enforced by the NFL and especially with referees. You can't be lackadaisical about this and say, well, we're going to have this rule, and then only implement it to when a certain player comes, a certain player comes out and plays. That whole Tuck rule a couple years ago, almost a decade ago with Tom Brady and everything, that Raiders game. I mean, that was ridiculous. It's like, oh, you're gonna create a rule right then and there for this individual, and then turn around a year later, oh, that rule, we threw that rule out. Really? How convenient. It's like, seriously, like. But yeah, you have to watch the video and whatnot. It's a good video. Because honestly, and then of course, you got people on there saying that, oh, you're just a, poor baby, all this stuff happened to you, blah, 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 And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, and if it was you, if you were in Richard Sherman's shoes, you'd be in the same fucking boat as him. Excuse my language. But you would be in the same boat as him, as, saying that, we're not, we're not getting taken care of on the field. They're not caring about us. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And as a fan, do you really give a rat's ass about any of these players? No, you just want to make sure you get to see your damn football on a Sunday night or Sunday or Monday night. You don't care about the fan, with actual players. Yeah, are some of the players overpaid? Yes. By all means, yes, they are overpaid. Are some of them a bunch of babies? Yes. But there's actually some of them that, like Richard Sherman, are making some really good, strong arguments, saying that, when it comes down to it, players need to be player safety on the field, and rules of the game need to be enforced, and not have special treatment on just because if you're a marquee player, marquee name or not. And that's what the argument he's trying to make, and you cannot tell me that you cannot deny me, because I already gave you examples. You cannot deny that's not going on right now, because it is. All right. Well, I'm gonna say we're getting close to that hour mark here. I think we might have to wrap up the show here a little early here, but yeah, definitely check out that video. It's a really good video. And I read some of the comments that people were making. I'm like, he's not talking about and then people are like, oh, he's talking about himself. No, he's talking about everybody in the league. Don't matter if you're the guy that's on the practice squad taking a beating, to the guy that or who's making has the highest paid contract on the team. Everybody on that field needs to be protected. Referees and spotters, if they see someone doing a play illegally, getting hit or whatever the case may be, needs to say, hey, this on this play, this and this happened. We need to enforce the rule. Because when it comes down to it, if we keep seeing more players getting injured, more players getting hurt, more players, we start seeing more people get, more things not safe on the field, there's going to be a lot of parents that are going to say, you know what, the reward you get playing for football is not worth the risk. And I mean, football could very easily be. I mean, I know it would have to take a lot for it to happen. But I mean, with some of the people we have in this damn country, I mean, I guess it'd just be just an endless cycle, just shit, just keep repeating itself. Because with the election we have coming up, we have, people are just making some idiotic choices of, preferably on one candidate. And I know I shouldn't be talking about that and on here on the show, but I don't understand some people right now in this country of the choices they're making. But I honestly, me personally, I would not have, if I had a child right now who was, playing football right now and band on football or junior high football or high school football, I would suggest to them find another sport to play. Because right now, the NFL, they don't give a rat's ass about their players at all, or any future players. If people were smart about this, I would think they would say, yeah, I agree with you. The NFL is not doing anything to help the future, because if you don't have a future, if you want more people coming into that sport to play, that sport's gonna cease to exist. It's gonna be extinct. So, I don't know. Maybe that's what people need to realize. That football could be dead very easily if we don't change things in that sport. Because I mean, look at the NBA and Major League Baseball. They've changed their rules. And to me, honestly, if you ask me today, I can make, I can make twice as much. You give me $1 amount of playing football, and you say you could play football or baseball. I would pick baseball or basketball anytime than I would football, because hell, baseball you can play a lot longer than less injuries. Both baseball and basketball, you can play hell of a lot longer, and not have injuries, and not have as many injuries as you would, or especially many serious injuries as you would in football. And I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, I kind of want to have, a clear mind and not worry about having, a concussion. Having a concussion over the most simplest, trying to do the most simplest things in life, And here, you got players dying, dying at an early age, young ages, in their, late 30s, early 40s, where you didn't hear about that years ago. All right. Let's go ahead and move on now to the final topic here of the show. And let's talk about this past weekend's pay-per-view for the WWE. WWE's pay-per-view, which is by the name of Clash of Champions. One of the classic pay-per-views of the year, or of the WCW era. Actually, I got a chance to go on the network and watch some of the old ones there. It was actually pretty interesting back in the day. I watched the last two Clash of Champions that WCW had, which was in 1997. So, yeah. Been a while. But Clash of Champions, you had Seth Rollins going against Seth Rollins going after the Universal Championship, held, of course, now, by Kevin Owens. Owens retained the title and remained your champion. Pretty good, decent match there. Now we'll have to see how what the aftermath of that's going to have to be. I will say I have not watched this past week's Raw or SmackDown, so I am behind on what's going on there. We also had a very good, I will say, one of my favorite matches of the night, which was the triple threat match between Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. I really did for a while there. I really thought that Bayley was going to pull it out, and maybe that was going to be the shocker of the night. That Bayley, because there was not much said about her. They didn't have too much of, the way how they had, in my mind, I guess how they were setting it up was where maybe Bayley was going to maybe take win the title and steal it from both of them. But that was not the case. So, but it was a good match. I enjoyed it. Also, too, you had Chris Jericho against Sami Zayn, and Chris Jericho, of course, having Sami Zayn drink in. Jericho won the match there, and now, of course, Jericho is trying to get into the mix there for the United States or the Universal Champion, as he in that match with Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Jericho came out there to distract Rollins. That's how Kevin Owens won the match there at the pay-per-view. What else? We also had, one of the things that kind of got me was when I was unsure of, and I thought really that it was going to be explained a little bit more, because it's still left out in the wind, is the whole Triple H situation. Triple H, if you remember, he attacked both Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in that triple threat match, or that fatal four-way match for the Universal Championship, just about towards the beginning of the month there. And of course, it made it look like, in the end, Triple H, pretty much told Seth to, go screw off. This is the guy I'm going to be supporting now, and he's going to be a part of, my regime as the authority. Which now, he helped Kevin Owens win the Universal Championship. But that has not been explained yet, and that's what's been bugging a lot of people in the wrestling community. Is like, okay, why are you not explaining? Like, you have not had Triple H. It's going to be a month that Triple H has done that, and it's like you guys have not explained that at all. Now, of course, Stephanie says, I don't know what Hunter's doing, yada yada yada, and I mean, I guess that's part of the storyline right now. But it's just, I think a lot of people are still hung up on that. Like, okay, why have we not heard? We have not heard anything from Triple H yet of his explanation of why he did it. And hopefully we'll get that here soon, as we get closer to the next pay-per-view, which will be, I think the Raw's pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell, and SmackDown is No Mercy. So those will be coming up here. Here in, I think SmackDown's going to be first. It'll be in 2 weeks, so we'll have that here coming up. Let's see, what else? We had the New Day going against Gallows and Anderson, and Gallows and Anderson unsuccessfully were unable to gain the tag team title. So the New Day are still your WWE Raw tag team champions. I don't know if you guys see me on Facebook or on Twitter, but I kind of say, I'm kind of tired of the New Day being champions. I'm just kind of like, how's this going to end? Like, because if you're gonna have this many days of them being champion, there has to be, the way they lose the titles has to be ugly. I mean, it has to be ugly for them to lose the titles and have those titles, especially, they have the titles for this long. It has to be discussed. It's gonna have to be, something memorable. Because honestly, I'm kind of just done with the New Day right now. As the figureheads of the tag team division. And to me, it's making Gallows, because this is the third time they've gone against the New Day for the tag team titles, and it's kind of making Gallows and Anderson kind of like jokes. Like, I don't know, just I don't know. But yeah, that was one of the other matches there. What else? You had the United States Championship on the line. You had Rusev, the champion, going against Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns got some gold. He defeated Rusev in the matchup there. Good back and forth match, and in the end, Reigns was able to take the United States title there. Of course, makes Rusev very upset and angry, and we'll see what happens with that. What else was there? I want to say there was something. I know I'm missing a match somewhere. But yeah, for me, the pay-per-view wasn't as exciting and everything. I would have to say it was probably a 6 out of 10, maybe somewhere. It was pretty much a down the road, middle of the road kind of a pay-per-view. Whatnot. So like I said, I really thought we were gonna see some, because it was all the championships were on the line. The other match that I really enjoyed was the cruiserweight match between T.J. Perkins, the current cruiserweight champion, going against Brian Kendrick there. Very good match, going good back and forth, and especially the last, towards the end there, and trying to shake hands, and Brian Kendrick showing out that he was not having it. I thought that was really cool, really awesome, and can't wait to see more, especially with more cruiserweights there, because T.J. Perkins and Brian Kendrick have a history. It was really cool. They talked about how Kendrick trained Perkins, and Perkins was in high school still at the time when he was getting trained, and he would, Brian Kendrick would drive Perkins back and forth between school and training and whatnot. And sometimes Perkins would even get out, leave school early to go to be trained by Brian Kendrick and whatnot. So, yeah, I think that I'm hoping that we'll see more of that between those two and whatnot. It's all. I think I like seeing Brian Kendrick. He's one of those really cool guys, cruiserweight guys that have been around and whatnot, and seeing what he can do. Still, at the in his late 30s, early 40s is so awesome. So, but yeah, that was probably one of my besides the triple threat match with the women championship there with Bayley and Sasha and Charlotte. The cruiserweight match was really good also. So, but yeah, for the most part, the pay per view, not. Like I said, it wasn't that memorable. It wasn't, awesome. There was times there was some awesomeness in there, but for the most part, I think I would have to give it a 5. It was just kind of just a pay per view. So, all right. Well, that is going to wrap up this week here on the show. But before we go, I will let you guys know that on a personal note. I know this week I didn't have too many videos come out, and that was because I just wanted to take some time away from doing videos. There were some other games that I was wanting to play, and there were some people that I had, friends and stuff like that I haven't seen for a while. I wanted to just see how they were doing and just spend some time with them. But I am going to be working on some videos for next week. So next week here on the channel, you will see some videos that I've worked on. when it comes to series, we're going to try to wrap up. This weekend I'm going to try to get some footage. And it probably won't be until next week. We'll wrap up the Green Bay Packers franchise. But there will be a video coming up here very soon. It is episode 43. Now, in that video, I'll explain it now, and I'll explain it again in that video. But in that video, I actually had to redo that game because of some lost footage. Originally, I had the game won and played and whatnot. It was a great win, and you'll see that in the video. But I ended up, for whatever reason, deleted that footage. And so I had to go back. I found a game save that I had that was before that game. So we had to go back, and I had to force wins on the teams that actually won. Originally, when I played that first time around against the Giants in the divisional game. And again, like I said, I'll explain that in the video. But yeah, I had to do some editing and stuff like that. So you'll see that game, the second, not the first one, but the second time we had to play it. I'll show you guys that game. The scores were pretty similar and whatnot. But yeah, it was. I was so mad. I was so upset about that. I was like, I gotta play this game again. Also, there'll be the first episode of the Steelers franchise in Madden 17. We'll get to that. We'll also have some Bart Barnes of the more of the Prelude coming up, and then I'm hoping today, after I get done finish those videos, I'll be able to capture some more stuff from that. I'm still trying to decide on what this year's franchise team will be working with. I haven't decided yet of who that's going to be, or decided if I'm going to even do one. And then also sometime we'll see. Like I said, there'll be a string of videos throughout the week coming up here. Not just I've got some footage for some basketball coming up. Just some gameplay from some NBA 2K17 coming up. And then, of course, you got WWE 2K17 coming up, and I'll have footage of that type of stuff come out when that game comes out. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, like I said, this past week was just I took some time away just to kind of just recharge and because I don't know how many of you guys are YouTubers out there, but sometimes you get burnt out on it, and you kind of want to step away from it and kind of want to just live life with work and doing this. I just didn't have much of a social life, and a lot of things are coming up. I got some friends that are coming up, that are currently coming back in town to visit and stuff like that. So I want to hang out with them, and not to mention not just friends, but also family. So I want to be able to have time to hang out with them and see them and spend some quality time with them. So, that's just what happened. So, but hopefully this week we'll get some of those videos out for you guys, and we can get back to get back on kind of a normal schedule. This video, I'm gonna try to get it out on Saturday. If not Saturday, it'll be up Sunday morning as soon as we can. But I will say after next week, this show will now be on Sundays. So we'll have it Sunday mornings. It won't be on Saturday evenings anymore. It'll be on Sundays. Because now the timing was just of everything with all these other videos I do, so it just does not work out for me. So next week you guys will see this sports gaming podcast on Sunday mornings. I think it's gonna be around 11 a.m. So yeah, 11 a.m. You'll see this series, this show, this podcast on there. So that's the expecting time you guys should be able to see it on Sundays. So just mention a little programming note here on the channel for you, people that want to see the videos on a normal basis. So like I said, this video is not up 6 o'clock p.m. on October 1st, which is today. I'm filming it down that same day, but if it's not up later today, then it'll be up Sunday morning, and you guys can catch it Sunday morning here on the channel. So but yeah, thank you guys so much. Like I said, check out some of the articles and stuff that's happened this past week in sports. Hopefully, I didn't make any picks this week in NFL because, like I said, I've been busy doing other things. So no picks this week. Just don't really I really don't have the time just to decide what team to pick. But again, like I said, I'll make a channel video here soon, kind of explaining we're going to do for the channel for this month and whatnot. But again, like I said, catch those videos here later this week. It should be some Madden 16 and 17, not to mention some Bart Barnes coming up too this week, and maybe even some Royals franchise games, and what else? Maybe some NBA 2K, just some exhibition games or whatever coming up this week, maybe possibly. So, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys enjoyed the video or enjoyed this episode today, leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more here on ESGNet. Find us on Facebook and Twitter. The links are down below in the description. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, keep yourselves healthy, and I will see you guys next time.